Okay, welcome to Burlesque Gateway's Burly Summer School 2026. This is our third tutorial because the decorating the cakeboard fans has taken me a little bit longer than I'd planned to, so I've pivoted and made the feathers for the cardboard box fan grips, which we'll come back to after this. So I'll do these first. Then I'll finish the cakeboard fans and do part 2 of that tutorial, and then we'll do part 2 of this tutorial making the grips for these feathers. The cellophane feathers. I can say it this week. Okay, what you need. Materials. I'm just going to go through what you need for the feathers, and we'll go through what you need for the cardboard grips in that part of the tutorial. Okay, so you need jumbo cable ties, you need a bottle of super glue or similar. I used like Gorilla Glue, the plastic friendly kind. Um, then you need some sort of glue spreader potentially. I just used the nozzle on the glue, so you don't need to. You could also use a hot glue gun and hot glue if you preferred that and you have access to one, but I'm doing this tutorial assuming that you don't have one. You'll need kitchen or craft scissors. You'll need pegs or woodworking spring clamps. You'll need the usual surface protective things, your silicone craft mats, towel, plastic bags, newspaper, plastic tablecloth, whatever. Same as every other tutorial for the summer camp so far. You'll also need a table or countertop for your space, and optionally a seat. Time, honestly, it's only taken me about 2 or 3 days to make the feathers. This part is pretty easy. And cost wise, the project assumes you're going to have to buy most of the materials, but you might already have at least some of the tools from past projects. So I had to buy about £20 worth of materials, the cellophane and the cable ties and the glue. But it could cost you more or less depending on what you already have access to, and I'll have a clearer picture of what the rest of the project costs once I've done that part. So here's one I made earlier, stage 1. How to make your cardboard box fans. And I need to change that. I've left the paper plate one in there. It's fine, I'll fix it. So stage 1, as every other week, prepare your tools and materials from the what you need checklist. This may take a few days if you need to buy things or find them in your craft stash. And then stage 2, set up your space, clear off your work surface to make room to create your fans, then protect your surfaces with your towel and silicone mat, newspaper, plastic bags, or wipe clean plastic tablecloth. And you're going to have to do that every single time you work on it. Then stage 3, because we're making cellophane feathers for this, we'll start there. So prep your cable ties by cutting off the tie ends. I'm making 5 feathers per fan, so prep 10 in total, and I also did an extra one for a little experiment. Then cut out rectangles of roughly the same size as cellophane from your roll. You can use a ruler to measure them, but I just eyeballed it. You need roughly 4 to 6 sheets per feather. I experimented with a few different weights and number of layers. And unlike real feathers or paper, less is more here. The ones with 8 to 12 layers are too heavy, and the sheets on top start peeling away from the cable ties when I started moving them around. But so 4 to 6 is ideal. Once you have enough feathers, that's 10 in this case. Once you have enough sheets of cellophane for your feathers, I mean. So that would be 40 to 60. Separate them out into piles if you're using different colours like I did, or just keep count of them. If you're tight for space, just make sure you know when you've done 4 or 6 layers on each feather. I mean, if you do one more, you're just going to have to cut another sheet out or very carefully peel one away, but ideally, keep track of what you're doing. And then also make sure you're working in a well ventilated space outside or with a window open nearby. If you are somewhere where there's a bit of wind, just put something on top of your cellophane sheets so that they don't blow away. Then lay your first sheet of cellophane on your work surface. Carefully spread glue along your cable tie on one side. You could also use a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks for this, but I'm assuming you don't already have one for this project. Then place your cable tie glue side down onto your first cellophane sheet and press down firmly. You may also want to wear gloves if you're sensitive to glue or using something harsher than I was. Um, Spread the glue along the top of the cable tie that hasn't just been glued down, and then press your second sheet of cellophane down on top so you have a cellophane sandwich. Then repeat that on the side that you're working on. I've just spotted a typo. Hang on. That should be an R, not a T. So then, like, once you've done that and you've got two sheets of cellophane on either side of your cable tie, repeat that on the one side that's facing up with one or two more sheets. So you've got your kind of 2 to 3 on one side, your 4 to 6 layers. Then flip it over and repeat on that side until you have another 2 to 3 sheets of cellophane glued down on that side, and you've got both on each, so it should be 4 to 6. Then clip a peg or a clamp on the end. Then lay it aside on your spare mats or towels to dry for 24 hours. You may also want to put a book on top for added security and pressure. I didn't, because I didn't have space or enough books where I was working to do that. But I think it would be a good idea just for this project. And then just repeat until you have enough feathers, 10 in this case, and leave to dry for 24 hours. So, P.S. I also made a test feather to show why it needs to be a sandwich and not layers of cellophane with a cable tie on to look more like a real feather shaft. Basically, it's too heavy and pulls away. I did do a lot of layers with mine, but it needs the sandwich secure to be structurally sound even with 4 or 6 layers of cellophane, because I've done stuff like this before. You could then add a decorative cable tie onto either side if you wanted to, but it's not going to hold up to movement on its own. A pro tip: it was 28 degrees Celsius while I was gluing these. That's too hot. Heat affects glue curing time and durability, and that is a factor in mine turning out a bit bubbly along the middle and peeling off easily. Honestly though, I don't rate cellophane as a fake feather material. It's not very durable or reusable. You can use it, I have, but there are other alternatives that work better. These are just really intended as one-off workshop or 2 or 3 night run of a show before they have to be remade. And I don't love making single-use fans, but sometimes you're on a budget and you need fans for 10 students for one night, and this is an option for vegan students or folks with feather allergies, or you're on a really tight budget and a roll of cellophane is a couple of pounds versus quite a lot for the number of feathers you'd need. I did plan on making a packing foam feather tutorial too, and this is where we have to talk about how sometimes vegan materials are not as eco-friendly or as skin suitable as just using feathers. But you'll have to check out somewhere like Feather Phase Out for that, because, and by packing foam, people mean this. I hate it. I hate touching it. I hate touching cellophane, but I can touch cellophane. Oh, that feels absolutely disgusting. It feels horrible. I'm itchy. The tops of my fingers have already gone red just with that much contact, which I figured out by like using it to lay my paper plate feathers out on, because I didn't have enough silicone mats at the time to deal with that. It's horrible. My hand is now really itchy. I'm going to have to hold on to my cold glass of juice, because that is how quickly I react to that. It's horrible. Because despite claims of being non-allergenic, and just like I really hate anytime makeup or personal care products put hyperallergenic as an ingredient, it's not an ingredient. You can be allergic to anything. I have large feelings about this as somebody who's lived with mast cell activation for decades. Um, like, actually, I am allergic to packing foam. It gives me terrible eczema. And I can't even touch it for long enough to make a demo for you, let alone actually use them. So that is, if you want to do that and you're not allergic to it, that is your call, that is your decision. Because yes, people are vegan and they make these ethical choices based on their values. People are allergic to feathers and they need alternatives. I'm going to experiment with lots of different ones. Um, but plastic based things that really wear out after a few uses are not ecologically friendly. Yes, it's good to recycle things that would have ended up in the bin anyway, but you know, this is not a skin friendly material. It just is not. I'm like a canary in a coal mine with a lot of like, this is hypoallergenic, this is fine. It's not. If you have eczema and you struggle with polyester and acrylic, anything like that, or even if you're neurodivergent and it is a like sensory nightmare to touch these synthetic fibers for you, these are not going to be suitable. And feathers might be a better option. So I think we just need to be more aware of other people's needs, access wise, and that there is no single right choice for being environmentally friendly and burlesque, just the right choice for you and the least worst choice you can make within your specific access needs, budgetary limitations, whatever it is. There are bad choices to make, yes, there are, but it's not the answer to just say no feathers, absolute ban, nobody's allowed to use them, because these alternatives are not safe or suitable for everybody. They just aren't. So that's enough talking about that. We'll get back to the tutorial now. Oh, and I also found XL Decorations is the YouTube channel that's got a lot of tutorials on how to make packing feather foam. Packing feather foam? Packing foam feathers. Get words in the right order. It's too hot and I need to have my lunch. Anyway, we'll get back to the tutorial in a minute. Okay, back to tutorial, stage 3 continued. We're still making our feathers at this point. So once they've dried for 24 hours, unclip your pegs or clamps, then cut all your feathers into a kind of rough leaf shape. Again, you can draw this out if you want, or like I did, just eyeball it, it's fine. You might need to like chop some of the layers a bit more after because some of them kind of separated and they were just, I hate working with cellophane. I just hate it, but I did it for you. Um, then, like we did with our paper napkin and tissue paper feathers, cut diagonally into the edges of your leaf shapes, not cutting in too far. As I also found with my experimental extra feather that cutting in as far as the paper looked great flat, but it was all just floppy when it was moving, even when I was holding it together. You might also want to like just do a feather shape that's all cartoony, like kind of like a flame. Just experiment, see what works for you. You can at this stage, if you want to, add decorative cable ties just by gluing them one on either side. Obviously, chop the ends off again, or you can add some decoration up the middle before you construct the fans. I'm not going to do that because I trust you to like figure out how that works yourself from the other tutorials and just general knowledge. You put some glue up the middle and you put some gems or sequins up the middle. I would say sequins are probably the right kind of weight for this type of feather, but have a play, like figure it out and just have fun with it. Like I say, I'm not going to do that because these are purely being made for the tutorial, and I'm probably going to recycle them once I've shown you how to do some choreography with them later in the year or early next year. We'll see. We'll see how long it takes me to do that. I make no promises. But yes, that's it for this part 1 of the tutorial. I will, as I said, come back to part 3 in probably 2 weeks' time. Next week we'll do part 2 of the cakeboard fans, how to decorate them. And you can watch that, leave your cellophane feathers to the side, and then go, that's how I put rhinestones on things. Anyway, ta-ta for now, and I will be back with my next tutorial next week.